Hey, Chris, how you doing? Um, well, let me ask you guys, is the sound okay and is the picture okay? Hey, Bruce, picture and sound all right? Yes, no. Hey, William, sound okay and the picture okay. Oh, great. Okay, thank you, Javier. Okay, good. Ah, man, what a week. Hey, GMT Master and James and Warren and everybody. How's it going? Uh, today, hey, Tim, Bobby Legs, hey, Junior, Klaus, hi, Klaus. Um, sounds a little fuzzy. Ooh, fuzzy, huh? And the video is blurry. Um, no idea. Hey, Mike, I tell you, Mike, I was worried about you that the tornado they had. So anyway, is it real blurry or just a little? Hi, Mark. Um, and the sound isn't right. Let me let me see if I can fix the sound here. 1 second. Uh, okay. All right. How's the sound now? Is that sound any better? Sergio, Ian, hi, man. 100 miles away. Okay, that was good. There were a couple of you guys I knew from Tennessee who I was a little concerned about. I'm glad to hear you're well. Okay, is the sound any better now? Hey, Junior. Let's see. Chris. Hey, Chris. Um, I changed something on the mic just to see if it's any better. No change. Okay, sound is gone. Okay, let me try it again. Oops. Here we go. All right, how about now? Okay, you can hear fine. All right, good. Um, okay, good. The sound's okay now. All right, great. They have all of this. I got this fancy microphone and it does all this stuff. Well, let's talk about what's up this week. Let's see. Oh, one of the things is that from when was that? I guess it was Monday when we had the little that little what's it called, the vest pocket, had the little vest pocket video, and there were some watches on there. And so one I was keeping an eye on was that Brazilian one, the Brazilian football one that Parmigiani had. They had modified the Parmigiani Pershing, and for the league, and it sold. Uh, did any of you get it by any chance? Anybody here? Hey, Snellnecks or Snagglenecks or Snelganecks. Sound is a bit distorted. Okay, sound is distorted. Huh. Okie doke. Oh boy, I got it. Don't like distorted sound. Um, hmm. If it's distorted, what I'm afraid of, if the picture's a little blurry and the sound is distorted, sounds worse. Okay, well, let me see if I can fix it. Yeah. All right. How about now? Hey, Warren. So it sounds all right to you? Okay. Well, yeah. Too hot input. Too hot input. Okay. Let me see if I can fix the too hot input. 1 second. Sound preferences. And I'll go here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Input volume. Is this any better now? Better? Okay. All right. Well, as the movie title said, this is for today. This is as good as it gets. All right. Okay, it's a little better. All right, I'll take that. Sounds good. Good, Bobby. Hey, Bobby. um, okay. First of all, what was up? Oh yeah, that was one thing. The other thing is that I've there are a lot of watches that seem to be becoming more and more available in terms of price going down, and now might be a real good time to start thinking about that. So that's one of the things, and it may be caused by the uh, COVID-19, I guess is what it's called, or nine, something like that. I don't know. Uh, One of the things that happened, though, was that the Horological Society of New York, each year they have this big gala, which is for fundraising, and it was canceled. It was set up for April 1st, and my wife and I were going to go, and we were getting nervous anyway, so they canceled it. I have become a country mouse, I like to think of. And we live out in the country. My next door neighbor are goats. So we have, and the goats, we have honest goats. They're very fancy goats. They're cashmere goats. Okay. All right. Let's see. So what else we had? I had a parody this week. It was pretty good. Bobby Legs did one. Now, what I'd really like to see is do it of Clyde. That would be a great parody, Bobby. You did a very nice job. And but one thing, I hope I don't sound like that high school teacher in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's the only thing. All right, let's see. Hey, Carlos. Please limit your movements. It's serious. Okay. If my movements are blurring things up, it's probably this stupid bandwidth that I have. So I'll do my best to fix it. Okay. So that was news. See, what else was going on this week in watches? Well, those are the main things that I can think of. How about with you guys? Anything that you've noticed that is remarkable or new or anything else? My outdoor movements. Oh, I see. Okay, Mark. I like to go see. I can visit my goats next door. All right. Okay, everything's working okay. Good. I can't tell. I'd have to set up another computer over here to see what it looks like. And if I did that, that would just soak off the bandwidth that comes out of, I don't know, this. We had this one system, and I got tired of them nickel and diming us, so we changed it to another one, and they were really great. And then they sold it to somebody else, so we'll probably go back to the original one. All right. Hey, James, too. Just got my world timer. Now I can't. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. I'm hesitant to make any big purchases because of the economic uncertainty, I guess, right? Yeah, that's the other thing. I've been getting some stuff that people really want to move some things, and I feel the same way. There are certain watches I'm pretty sure if I lowballed I'd get them, but then I'm thinking, do I really want them? There's this one watch I would like to get on a lowball, but I don't know. Okay, I'm lucky. Seth Morley. I can't go outdoors at all. Here in Italy, it's lockdown day 2. Well, Seth Morley, I tell you, that's one thing. I'm glad at least all of us, we can get together without passing anything. And so that's one thing we can do. Maybe we ought to have more live streaming so since we can't talk to anybody live. Oh man. Okay. So let's see. So that's really affected. Um, I don't know, man. I tell you, in the past, remember, I don't know how many years ago it's been now, 2, 3, 4 years ago, when they had the Chinese government crack down on they cracked down on the whole corruption thing that was going on with watches, because people were going overseas, they were buying watches, and then they were using them to bribe officials to get government contracts and so forth. And it got so bad that the Chinese government said, no more watches for you guys. So what happened was that suddenly there was what was known as the Asian crisis. And I stumbled into it and got some great deals on watches, because what was happening, I could really save a lot of money. Sometimes you'd have to wait, and usually what you were waiting for until they returned from Hong Kong or mainland China, where people couldn't buy them. So that happened. Hey, Neil. So that may happen again. Now, on the other hand, as Bobby said, you got these are times where you may be wanting to save as much as you can, because you don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, man. It's these are trying times. The last pandemic that they had that I know of, I mean, there probably been some other ones, but was at right after World War I, and millions of people died. But it was a regular flu, and they only had 2% of the people who got it died. And now it's up to 3.4%, which is not good. I mean, people say, well, that's what 96.4%, you're not going to get it. That sounds good to me, but I don't want it. All right. So what else beside that's going on? Let's see. FP Journe suddenly became a brand of my choice. I hope their price drops low enough. I don't think it is, but it's possible. One of the things, like I said, is that there's been it's sort of like everything was sort of going along, and certain things were going up and certain things were going down. And bam, all of a sudden things changed. And I don't know what's going to happen. I'm like everybody else, but if it's anything like the last, like the Asian crisis we had a few years back, there's going to be some good buys. And then once they get the vaccine and everything else, I don't know. Hey, Hotsy, how you doing? Okay, FP Journe became a brand of my choice. I hope their prices aren't. Here's the one thing that might be a really good buy from FP Journe, but really good buy as a relative term. But that would be one of their Elegantes. That's the one that FP Journe designed, a quartz movement that would, when you stopped wearing it, it would stop to save the battery. And so when you took it off and went to bed at night, it would stop. And when you put it on in the morning, the neat thing about it is that all the hands would go around to the correct time. Let's see. Okay. I'm glad to see everybody is welcoming one another. Let's see. What's up with H. Moser? I'm on Thursday. Last time, I think we were talking on last Wednesday, and I mentioned I was going up to over to New York, and I was going to meet with I want to say Edouard Melin. Okay, that's the best I can do. For those of you who speak French, forgive me. For everybody else, you're probably used to it. There's not much I can do. All right, so let's see. So that went. I had a ball. Last week was incredible. On Monday, I met FP Journe, and he said some really nice things about my watch, my Resonance. And then on Thursday, I got to meet Edward, and they both went well. You know, a lot of times you have something big coming up, you know, you get all planned and, you know, you do something stupid, you know, or something doesn't work out right. Like, 'cause I was thinking, oh my God, I was worried. I'll admit it. I was worried about the coronavirus. I got on Metro North, heading into Grand Central Station, and then hot-footed it down Park Avenue down to Cellini's. You know, have any of you now raise your hand, say yes or no, or maybe have any of you been to Cellini's in New York? Any of you guys been there? The reason I'm asking is that oh, I forgot. Mark had asked me to ask if Moser would give us discounts. I forgot to ask. Doggone it. Well, anyway, I have the interview and the video tomorrow. Hey, and there's something just got off a conference call. Everyone in the tri-state area should be worried and careful. No kidding. Well, I don't know. You know, what does the tri-state area consist of? It's what, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Connecticut was one of the last ones that now has cases of coronavirus. That was a nurse who was from New York and got it. Like I said, now that I am gone from being a city mouse to a country mouse, not a lot of things. I was supposed to go to a meeting this morning, and I just didn't go. I just thought, no, heck with it. But this is, you know, we can talk on this all the time. Don't have to worry about anything. Okay, what else you got? Let's see. Okay. Greeting one another. Say hello to everyone. All right. So nobody here. Bruce, have you been to Cellini's? You must have been to Cellini's. No, I'm trying to hang in there. Okay. Never been to New York. Okay. Well, you're from California, Mark. Let's see. Williams. Watch this. Where are you located, Williams? Are you near the city? Going into spirit planning. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. I had a sprint. Oh, sprint planning. I thought it was spirit planning. All right. Let's see. I haven't been there yet. No idea. What is a New York? And no idea. I tell you what, Cellini's is though. It's a watch store that has all of the really good independents. It has let me see, Gronfeld, Houghton Lonnen, Lauren Ferrier. What else? All of the really good independents, Beauvais, Moser, H. Moser. So that's what Cellini's is. And so, you know, one of the things, if you do go to New York, you're in there. Man, I hope that cough is just a cough. Well, another thing that happened when I went to Cellini's, was sort of an interesting thing happened. Swatch bought or owns now Harry Winston, Blancpain, and Breguet. And so what it did on Fifth Avenue, there was this store on Fifth Avenue that was a Harry Winston store on sort of the 30 Rock side of the street. That's the only way I can describe it. And so what it wanted to do, it opened up 3 stores that they now owned and put them all next to each other. So now Blancpain, Breguet, and Harry Winston are all together. So if you go into one of those stores, most of the stores, same thing with FP Journe and most of them really, there's a guard. And so you show up and they either open a door for you or smile and wave. So I went to the Breguet, and So I went in and I wanted to look at what was it called? The brigade tradition. And so they showed me one that was almost identical to one that Abraham Breguet had made, the same kind of aspects to it. And then they asked me if I wanted a catalog, and it was a hardback catalog. And I was on my way down to Cellini's to talk to Melon. And so I thanked him, and they said, well, we'll send it to you. I said, okay, that'd be fine. I got this big box full of stuff with all of this stuff about Breguet. And so I mean, they sent me all these books and you name it. I wish they could have put a watch. But that watch, I was really surprised. It was $36,000. Now, it was gold, but I mean, gold, as much as it is, $36,000 for a Breguet. I don't know. And it wasn't like it didn't have some. They have that whiz bang Breguet that goes 1,000,000 miles an hour, and the balance is suspended by magnets. Now that watch is probably worth it. Man, I don't know. Okay, let's see what's going on. UK license. Oh, okay. So you're from the UK. I lived. My son lived there for a number of years, going to school, and I was there back in a long time ago at Cambridge as a visiting scholar, and I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot there. Okay, to cancel my flight to LA. Oh man, at least having yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, I got to tell you guys something. Speaking of canceling, they postponed the gala that the Horological Society of New York is having. They postponed it until August. Okay. But the thing is, now I got to get my hotel reservations. I got to cancel them and hope I don't get nailed, or maybe if they say, well, sorry, then I'll see if I can change it to August and see if they'll do that. But I don't know. I don't. It's just sort of nuts. Just look at Cellini's website. New arrivals page has some amazing looking watches. Yeah, they do. Really cool. Hey, Par, how you doing, man? Okay, I thought you meant Cellini's, the Italian. Yeah, there's a Cellini watch, a Cellini model of watches that Rolex makes too. All right, let's see. When you decide to go to New York, I'll stop by and pick you up. This way you can show me all the good dealers around the city. Yeah, I'll take you down to 47th Street and let you go crazy. And if you come back with your in one piece, you'll have all the watches you'd ever want. Hey, let's see. Doesn't sound fun stuck on the phone, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Yeah, that's true, man. I tell you, it's just crazy. We put our son on the reason we didn't have we couldn't have our usual Wednesday gossip was because my wife and I were helping our son pack and get ready because he's moving to New York, and we put him on the train to Penn Station. And so, God, I hope, man. Okay. You should be able to get a full refund or credit. New York City just declared a state of emergency. Javier, thanks, man. That's good to know. Hotsy spent an hour and a half on hold with Delta canceling a flight this morning. Man, holy smoke! Hey, Carl M. Hey, Carl, did you go get that watch that you were interested in? God, I tell you. I think my brain is starting to go into meltdown because there are so many really good watches. I mean, they're just like, just can't remember all the brands. I see them and I can't remember them all. Hey, Crappy, how you doing, man? So, all right. Well, let's see. Maybe something we can do that may make it easier for any kind of travel. Oh man, I don't know. Things are sort of in a wild shape. Travel insurance, yeah. I once got some travel insurance, and it turned out that I needed it, but usually I don't. I get the best deal I can find and wing it. Let's see. Has anyone had any success demagnetizing a watch, and if so, with what machine? Put my Dornblue on a laptop by mistake, and it says perfect to 2 hours fast. Wow. James, let me tell you what happened to me. I have no idea. After having a not inexpensive service on my FP Journe Chronomat Souverain, I see it's year before last. There were a bunch of us at the Watch Time show in New York, and we had done one of these. Everybody put their wrist in, and we took a big picture. And I noticed that my watch was slower than the other ones, and so I went running down to the boutique, the FP Journe boutique in New York, and that's one thing. Those guys are so great. And they took my watch and they said, "Well, we're going to demagnetize it for you." I said, "Demagnetize? When it's magnetized, it always runs faster," but that's not true, apparently. So I came back and got it. Must have been 5 or 6 hours later, and because they said it took time, and man, the thing has been perfect ever since. Now I have a cheap magnetizer or demagnetizer, and I tried it on some watches. I'm still not sure whether it worked or not, and I'm not even sure whether the watches were magnetized in the first place. There's an app you can get that will tell you whether your watch is magnetized, and again, that is not the smartest thing to do. Oh boy, Warren had a good point. He said, "Will if this whole economic situation gets worse, will the independent watchmaker survive?" I tell you one thing. I think that'll give us some perspective. Most mechanical watchmakers go out of business one way or the other at some time. Abraham Louis Breguet did. And this is, I don't think, trying to remember whether it was before or after the terrors. He was on the list to be beheaded, and got wind of it, went running back to Switzerland. He was living with his grandparents there. Oh, there's all kinds of really interesting stories about that. I want to get into it. But whether they'll survive or not, I just don't know. I hope they do. There's another thing too. When you stop and think about it, it's not only the watch companies themselves. What about these dealers? You take a dealer like Cellini's. My God, I have no idea how many millions of dollars they have in inventory. And I don't know what the arrangement is with the manufacturer either, but I don't think they said, "Well, here, you can have them on consignment," or something like that. But they have a lot of money invested, and if all of a sudden that business disappears, it's not good. I was asking Leo about the impact that he had, and he said he hasn't really had any because most of his clients were American. And so there wasn't, this. At one time, there was a lot of Chinese money coming into American watches in New York, especially. They had these busloads of tourists who had all this money that we've been spending on products made in China, and so now we're getting it back in terms of doing some watch shopping, which I thought this is great. And but then when the crisis hit, kaboom, came to an end. Federico has some wonderful stories about that. He was working at Piaget, I think, on Fifth Avenue at the time. Lots of interesting stories. Let's see. FP Journe or Philippe Dufour, where is the difference? Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. One you can almost afford. I'll put it that way. I would. Oh my God! I tell you, either having a singularity or a duality from Philippe Dufour would just be. Those are beautiful watches, but so are Pijorn. So okay, let's see. Hey, Andres Felipe Gomez. Recession is right around the corner. Good luck for Rolex speculators. Yeah, yeah. I tell you, speculating in watches, I never thought was a good idea. Uh, so any info on SOPROD movements and a $2,000 watch is good or better than ETA Salida, I would assume. Crappy the SOPRODs. I don't know. The SOPROD A10 was so good. Now, what that was actually SOPROD A10 that was used by a lot of companies, including ones that a lot of people really love, like JS in Iceland. They used them, and so did Christian Vanderklaw in their sort of what their low end is, and their low end isn't very low. But essentially, what it was is that it was a Seiko's attempt to go from sort of a regular guy kind of watch to high horology. And so they came up with this, and then they wanted to break into the Swiss market, and they got a hold of SOPROD, and SOPROD took the plans or whatever it was that Seiko gave them, and they made this A10, which had been actually, I think it was called a 4L or something that Seiko had. And I have it in one of my watches in my Christian Vanderklaw. The thing is great movement. So anyway, but now see the whole thing is, God, it's complex. I think SOPROD is still owned by Festina, and Festina is doing some really interesting things with this other company whose name I can never remember, but it's the Swiss company. Using a lot of robotic design and manufacture. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. So that's the best I can have on that on the and as on a $2,000 watch, man, that's not a problem. I was planning to be in New York in early April, but not looking good. Yeah, Carlos, probably not, unfortunately. Hey, Geezer, how you doing, man? Dufour is more focused on finishing, Epijorn more focused on chronometry. I don't know if that's true, really, Geezer. They both, if you look at both of them, I think are focused on the same thing. And the thing I like about both of them is sort of what I call elegant simplicity. And if you look at what Philippe Dufour has done with both his watches, called Simplicity and the Duality, are incredible. Just like Epijorn has done with his Chronomet Souverain, and what else? I mean, that's a simple watch in my estimation. Okay, Dufour's more. Let me see what else is going on. What do you guys think of Atelier Millesimi watches? I wish they had used a simpler name like Joe's watches or Williams watches. I really do. I know the guy who's behind it, Ben. I think it's Ben. And he what he does, he gets really, really good movements. He's using sort of the higher end of Vaucher movements with the he has two levels of movements. One is their sort of entry level automatic with the big rotor, and then for the newer ones, he has the little micro rotor. I can't think of the numbers, the reference number on it, but I think they're okay, Tim. Okay. Got my Chinese copy of Cherche Lecoultre Geographic today. It's stunning and Boy, wait, good, Mark. Um, Warren A. What's the best movement you can purchase if someone wants to build their own watch at home? You know what I would do, Mark? I would start off with, first of all, I'd take a class. There's two kind of classes. There's an online class you can take, and then there's the Horological Society of New York has them different places in the country. And I think they've had some, or they're going to have some in LA or Long Beach or somewhere out there. And maybe in San Francisco too. You're closer to San Francisco. But the movement that I really like a lot is the ETA 6498 or 97. I like the 98 better, and this is the Dash 1, because they run at 2.5 hertz, which is what I like. And the subdial, the seconds is at 6 o'clock. That's a good one to learn with. They're old, what are they called? Pocket watch movements is what they came from, and then they made them into watch movements. Well, the good thing about that is that the parts are a lot bigger, because one thing is, especially if you decide to take one apart and put it back together again, man, the parts just they go into a black hole and you'll never find them. I don't care. You could have a glass room made of black or white glass so that you could, with contrast with anything else, you never find them. Hey, Quarter Eye. No worries. We're not keeping attendance. Okay, let's see what's going on. Hey, Graham. Perpetual SC03 Chinese watch. Well, listen, going back to Mark's question about if you're making your own, if you work, they have a copy of a Seagull copy of the 64, 98, and 97 called, I think it's called ST36, and then either 3600 or 3620, something like that. But those are great to work with, because if you're going to break a movement, and I'm good at that, you lose a part to it. You might as well get one that's more affordable than an ETA. This is really funny. Like, if you really want to be fancy and do-it-yourself watchmaking, check out the Chinese movements, because you've got what you have when you're learning this stuff. What you have is that you have a barrel for the power. You have a gear train or a wheel train. Then you have the escapement with the pallet fork, and then you have the hairspring, and round and round it goes. And there's more to it than that, but those are the basic elements just about of every watch. So, okay, Graham, seen a Perpetual SC03, a Chinese watch with an emerald dial and blued hands, seems insane value for 120 quid. My regulator here, my $200 regulator, this thing has been working great. And the thing of it is that, if I would rather have a Laurent Ferrier regulator, but I just wanted to have a regulator part of my collection. And so it's sort of funny watches, but fun watches to have around, because you got to look and look and look at them. And certain watches I don't mind doing that with. A regulator is sort of a fun thing to have for a collector. So that was the way I looked at it. And so I'll gotta see what they got. I found this my $200 Chinese Perpetual. It's a regulator by the company name of Perpetual in Hong Kong. They sold out 2 or 3 times on these things. People really liked them. I don't know. It depends what you want. Like, to me, Moser is one of the, for really exceptional horology the people who have them just are crazy about them. And what can you say? I mean, it's true with a lot of watches. I mean, people who are, love Rolexes, boy, they can't tell you enough about them. And the same thing with Mosers. Now, other kinds of watches are FP Journes, or you see, you don't run into many people with Vout and Lanans because they're wonderful, but they're very expensive. Oh, let's see what else is going on, guys. Okay, Andre, wish they would just focus on the Tonda line for a while. Keep the Ovale for very high end. And that's something. Oh, for Parmigiani, I love the Ovale. Man, I tell you, that's a watch I just would love to have. Really nice. I may never buy a Swiss watch again after seeing the quality of this watch. As soon as I pick it up, instantly felt like a high-end watch. Yeah, for the longest time, anything made in Japan was considered to be really sort of not so good, and then it became the opposite. And that may be true. I think if you look at some of the independent Asian watchmakers from Japan and Malaysia and China, man, they got some real talent there. I mean, these guys are, if they're really into making watches, they're really into making watches. China makes more watches, mechanical watches, than any place else on earth. And this, everything from your hairsprings to your pallet forks. It's getting scary out there with Chinese copies. I saw some Beauvais 1930s that looks close to real ones. Let's see. Copies are. I once had this great idea. I was going to buy copies of all of my watches, and cheap ones, and then put them in my in my watch box when I was away. And so somebody came and they stole them all. They'd get a bunch of junk. I don't know why. It's just sort of warped sense of humor. Question about Parmigiani or Moser. In terms of quality, I mean, they're both excellent, overlooked, underpriced watches. But in terms of quality, I would probably go with Moser. I really like Moser. They're excellent watches, but so are Parmigiani. They have Moser has what's called precision engineering. That's part of them, and Parmigiani has I forgot the name of it. Oh, Vasseur for making their movements. One of the things, though, that's really interesting, they're going to be talking about our Milan to talk about tomorrow. Most independent watchmakers don't make their own hairsprings. They get them from Moser. Moser makes I don't know, 1,500 watches a year, something like that. And they make I mentioned 25,000 hairsprings, and Milan said no, a little more than that. So, let's see. Carl, the movements that they're using. Now, if you know the movement, this is really funny. There are a lot of different levels of Chinese movements. Probably the best one, so the ETA of China is called Seagull. And then they have all of these other companies that will make different movements. But I think that they're organized differently than in the West. Disneyland is closed. When did that happen, Mike? Maybe that happened a while ago. I guess Disneyland, Disney World, they're going to, I don't know. Let's see. I have no idea. It looks fancy, though. It's not, but the watch. This is something I think this is something that would be important to sort of kick around and think about, is the whole idea of high horology. high horology was defined for the manufacturers, and with something with high horology, it would have certain features to it. But I don't know if those are the ones that are most important to collectors. I mean, to me, the most important thing for me as a collector is something interesting and high quality in the movement of the watch. Now, I probably have more emphasis on the movement than a lot of people, because a lot of people like, well, the case and this and that and the other thing. But to me, it's movement. But an interesting movement is what I like the best. Okay, let's see what else you got going here. Hi, Ivan. How you doing, man? Thanks. I'm thinking about buying something from the Nomos. I want something with in-house movement. Anything about and thinking about Orion, Notchblau, Autobahn, and Lambda. Any tips which to choose? Whoa. First of all, the Nomos Lambda is just a honey of a watch. Now that's part of what they call high horology. Man, now Orion, I think, and I may be wrong about this, but I don't think so. Orion came out with their own movement, and I think they call it the 110, and then they made the 111, the 112, and so forth. And that's, from looking at it and then reading about it, it's supposed to be a really good movement. Lambda, there's what a DUW, I think all of the movements that Nomos has that have the DUW designation are made by Moser. They're Moser manufactured, in other words. They have a couple, one like called the Alpha. And what the Alpha is that they used to use ETA 7001, which was the Pazu 7001. And then they decided to make their own. So they made it pretty much a clone of it. And the thing about Nomos, I never, even though they made it from scratch, they had enough integrity not to call it one of theirs. So I've always liked that about Nomos. I like a lot of things about Nomos. Nomos is a really good house. As far as Orion has been coming along. You can find some great Orion stuff. Let's see. All right. Thieves cannot tell the difference in the dark. Yeah. Though, Carl, I don't think most thieves, I don't think they're that, you're not dealing with always the brightest ones. If a thief wants to steal an expensive watch, usually what they do is they bust into a jewelry store and bring a lot of hammers with them and bust the glass and take them and run like mad. I was talking to the guys at the Apple store about that, and they said you don't want to steal a smart watch. It's smarter than you are. Anyway, what's going on? With the COVID-19 supposedly affecting the watch market, would be interesting to see if they get the call in the near future for the watch I'm waiting for, original ETA towards the end of the year. Ooh, hey, Geezer, what watch is it you're waiting for? Hey, watch lover, new to the watch collecting, but what am I finding is so many of these companies have purchased watchmaker names for faux history of being able to print Swiss made on the watch. Let's see. I think you need more than a faux history, watch lover. There are all of these rules in Switzerland about what percent has to be made in Switzerland for them to put Swiss made. Now, some of the best watches don't have Swiss made on it, even though they're totally Swiss made, like FP Journe. FP Journe put Geneva made on his. He doesn't care. He doesn't go through COSC or any of the other things you're supposed to. He just makes really great watches. It's sort of like, who could possibly judge his watches? They're that good. And I think, same thing I would say with Kerry Voot and Lonin. I mean, like you take, for example, if I were buying, and I had the money to buy a Roger Smith watch, uh, I wouldn't want Sue SC or anybody else messing with it. keep your away. You're not going to put my Roger Smith into a testing machine, or Philippe Dufour, or F.P. Jour, or Kerry Voutilanen, or Groenfeld. None of those. So it's like, I don't know. That's what I like about the independent watchmakers. Maybe watchmakers need to put trackers inside the watch. That would be fun. I tell you can put your own tracker in a watch. One place that people don't think about, if you're going to put a tracker in, put it in the band. It's got a hollow in there. Just sort of stick a little chip in there and follow the. I tell you, being a watch thief, I think I'd be sort of tough. Of course, they'd come to any of us and tell us it wasn't stolen. We would, if the price was right. Hi, Haja. Bonjour. Bonjour. Jacques Sanders. Okay. As of now, the London Watch Show is still going ahead for 4th of April. That'll be interesting. Are any of you guys going to the watch show in April in London? No? Yeah. Okay. Indeed. All right. There you go. Thanks, Andre. So it would be it has something that would be Guillaume. All right, I'll go with Guillaume. I like the French name spelled Guy. Guy, I think is how you pronounce it. I'd say Guy. That'd be a cool name to have. Or a German name, Wolf. I'd like to be. I want to name one of my kids Wolf. My wife wouldn't let me. So anyway, okay. Oh wow, you guys speak French. I can't. I know a few things like Pas Mal. That's about it. Well, look, guys. Oh boy, we went on for a long time today. I'm sorry to hog so much time, but thank you all for coming. And tomorrow we're on the video, which I'll probably be up till 3:00 in the morning getting ready. Is the interview that I had with Edouard Menlon. Hope to see you then. Take care. Hi, Watch Lounge. What's up? Well, I'm afraid we got to go.